So welcome everyone to this new video here on the YouTube channel Spillföreningen Fellowship. My name is Andreas Norwegian Viking and this is my no holds barred review of Ardacon. Now, a small disclaimer at the beginning of the video. This reflects my opinions and my opinions alone. It is generally not meant to, if I touch on subjects that might be considered negative, that is only to be considered constructive criticism to make events better in the future. So I do hope that Ardacon gets the support it needs to gain a second event in 2017. And I want to make sure that I have made my opinions and helpful tips available for James and hopefully some extra people that will help him deal with that event. So I'll have a few bullet points, and it might be a long video as well. So if you want to watch this while you paint, or just download the video and extract the audio and listen to that on your phone, that might be a solution for that. Because I like to speak about these things to be able to help with anything that might arrive. So first of all, for those who didn't know what Ardacon is, I have published a total of 5 journey vlogs throughout the event, me arriving on Wednesday, and then until I left on the, well, I didn't make anything for when I left, but until we had burgers at Burger King on Sunday evening, or well, it was technically Monday. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning. So you might watch that to get a in-depth look at the exact event, but I find the this reflective review to be the best way to convey my feelings about the event. So first of all, information. So don't know exactly, I think it was March, I think, or was it April, that James put up Ardacon as an event on the GBHL page. So we got our team together. We were a total of 7 Norwegians going over. Sadly, we lost a person who couldn't go because he had other obligations, and we also lost Frode, who was also supposed to go. He lives in Nottingham, but he couldn't go to the event either. But luckily we got Jan, so we ended on 6 people for our team. So that was Team Norway. So we went in high spirits, just having a good event. And if some of us could get to the top tables, that was a great thing. So this video will not touch on my exploits or the team's exploits during that event. You can watch our videos on the journey vlog for that, I think. Might just touch on how we went, but there will be a separate review for that as well. So information was available through Facebook. There wasn't really that much information for me other than Facebook. I do think most people are on Facebook, but more and more people opt out of Facebook. So I do think an Ardacon website might be a thing to think about. The reason for that is, of course, that if you go to the Element Games page where the ticket was sold, I do believe it linked to the Facebook page, but since there isn't an Ardacon website, there was no way to get information about other things happening at the event. So that might be a cool thing to do. just make a quick WordPress press event with publishing news articles. So like, for instance, now we have this event, this will do this and this and this, and now we have this thing happening, and that's this and this and this. That could be a way to do it, basically. So I think having a website might be in addition to the group or events page or whatever format on Facebook you will want to do this. So, but generally I find the information was good. I'm on Facebook every single day, every single hour of the day nearly. So it is I didn't find information that hard to come by. I was notified when something happened, but it was a bit there was sometimes that information gathering after the fact was a bit hard, because the summary in the events page wasn't that great, so you had to look through what other things had happened through the other notification posts, and that could be hard sometimes. For instance, the painting categories had been published in a post, but I couldn't find it. So that was when I was packing on Tuesday or Wednesday. Can't quite remember. So that's things that could be improved upon. Better summaries and links to certain sideshow events and stuff like that you might not think about publishing in the main post. So yeah. So information was good. I really liked the information, but there's of course better ways to handle pretty much everything. And a small caveat to this is James' first event of this size. Now, we did host together with Jamie Giblin Redos in Redesolation of Stockport, that is, in October last year, and that was a bit under 100 people, I believe, so about half the size of Ardacon. There was 150 players on this, but quite a lot of people bought tickets to participate in everything else happening around. So there were visitor tickets, basically. Okay, so we go on to the rules pack. Now, there were 3 main events at Ardacon. Well, 1 main event and 2 other events for gaming. So you had Chaos and Order on the Friday. You had the team championship along with the Ardacon champion. So there was like, you could have a team and you could win as a team, or you could win as a single competitor as well. So there were several options to choose from there, and there was a doubles tournament as well. So the rules pack was very simple. There were no restrictions at all at the team championship, other than that you could have maximum 8 people on a team and minimum of 4, and the 4 best scores were accounted for to the total of your team. And this made it quite simple to choose an army. You didn't have to go through the FAQ and look for loopholes or stuff like that. It's basically take what you want, and that's it. It makes for a competitive nature as well, and it makes it open for people who aren't that used to tournaments. And since this is a celebration of everything that's happening in SPG, of course, it makes things easier for young people and new players, not necessarily young players, but new players as well, to choose their armies and attend the event. Chaos and Honor, and it was 600 points. That has to be said. So Chaos and Honor on the Friday was quite simple as well. It was 400 points, but you could only choose from a single faction. So if you have a Moria army, you could only bring Moria. If you have an Angmar army, you could only bring Angmar. If you have a Free People's army, you could only choose this elf list, or this elf list, or this dwarf list. Pardon. And that made it a bit difficult for me, but I chose the simple route and just took the trolls, because that's 390 points. And it's a single warband, so that's great in that event. The rules for that event was rewritten. Chaos and Order was slightly modified for this as well. And I found the rules pack for that to be accessible through the information. I did find everything I needed for it. I could look at the cards. There was links to the DCHL page where the main rule set was, but after a while it was re-released as an Ardacon rule set for this event. And the event itself was great, but I'll talk about that as we go on. So for the doubles, it was also a quite a simple rules pack. You needed 350 points. Your teammate needed 350 points maximum, and you had to choose a single faction there as well. So no allies. You could ally with your teammate, so you didn't both need to have a Moria army. You could have, for instance, as Meanwhile did, you could have the Shire and Thranduil's Halls. So the general rules packs, there were few modifications to it. It was easily accessible, and I think everyone who needed to find out information about it found that very quickly. So the rules pack was good. It was a single page event pack. Well, 2 pages if you count the Chaos and Order rules as well. But it was with the timetables, with the rules pack, it took up a single page. So quite easy to find that. Okay, so now we come to the venue. So the venue that was chosen was the Mercure Hotel in the city centre of Manchester. Quite easy to get through from the train station. It is very central localised, so you had shops nearby. You had the Games Workshop store 5 minutes walk away. You had restaurants, other hotels in quite an easy to access area of the city. The hotel was a 4-star hotel, which I will not dispute. The staff was wonderful. The breakfast was good. They were polite. The quality of the rooms were good, and yeah, so it was and the actual venue where we played was also good. It was actually, in my opinion, quite beautiful. You had chandeliers hanging from the ceiling, big chandeliers. You can look at my hobby vlog, journey vlog, to see probably see some of those on the video. And yeah, so there was a single big ballroom basically. You had 4 or 5 rows of tables going like this, and it was 5 or 6 big tables down with 3 4x4s on each of these tables. And it was quite a lot of tables. I was there helping James set up, and it was good. I find the hall well ventilated. There was in general there was a big stage. You could have a projector screen on. There were sound systems, so we had music in the background. Lord of the Rings music. You had a small well, not small, a big alcove on the right hand side, looking at the stage, where you had stalls for vendors as well, and at the very back there was a bar, and there was a relaxing area. So, and there was a balcony as well. That wasn't that utilised. I could see options to use that for later, but I'll come with more about that later in the video as well. So this, of course, being a 4-star hotel, meant that the hotel price was a bit steep. I am a Norwegian. Let's just get that out of the way. We generally have money, so the ticket price for a double room would be £67.50 per night, I think it was, for sharing. So that's per person sharing a room, and that is cheap by Norwegian standards. That is basically, if you have a very cheap room in not a capital city in Norway, that would be about £45-60, between that, and in Oslo it would be from £60 to £80. So it wasn't that big a price for me personally, but I can understand some people wanting to get cheaper accommodations, and that will hamper your entire experience a bit, because everything was happening at the hotel. So when you are staying, even though it's like 5 minutes or 2 minutes or 3 minutes away, you still have to go to your other hotel where you sleep, and that could make somebody miss something, or not being that social. So what I would look for there was to since Ardacon was successful, I could see if one is going for a similar venue or the same venue again, you have bargaining power now to make those room deals even cheaper for people, and that could mean that people could stay at the venue, and the hotel would make more money, and hope Justin Bieber doesn't arrive in the city at the same time next year as well. So that was the hotel price. So it's steep for the locals and people traveling from low income countries like Poland, Italy, Germany, other countries like that. But for us here in Norway, it was no problem at all. Next one is ticket price. So there were some comments about the ticket price going in early, and again, for me as a Norwegian, I don't find £65 for ticket price that horrifying. It is expensive. I run an event, a 4-day event in Oslo. That is at a school, so it's probably a lot cheaper for the venue. But we charge 350 for adults and 50, and that's in Norwegian crowns. So that would be £35 for adults and £50 for children. But that is again because we get backing from the government for people under the age of 26. So we get about £70 from them after the fact. So I don't know quite how much the venue costs, but since it was a good size venue, you would need space for about 150 to 200 people playing. I do appreciate that being an expensive event to run at a venue like this. And of course you want prizes, you want to be able to buy scenery for all these games to be taking place. So you would need to charge something for the people. But then again, you have run an event now, and bargaining power would be strong if my impression is right and this event has indeed been successful. So you could of course be looking at a slightly different way of doing it, and that's not holding the actual event at a hotel at all, and choosing a sports venue or big hall or something. But that would make it slightly different of an event as well, because then you wouldn't have the social aspect going. You would have splinter groups, basically. You would have splintering of groups and factions, and people just generally staying with their own people. So for myself, I found that staying at the hotel and being able to basically just speak to anyone, have a beer with anyone, and have a drink and breakfast and all these things with anyone there, staying at the hotel was a huge plus for me, in my book. So yeah, so that's the ticket prices and the hotel prices. Now, you might be looking at my polo and see that this is an Ardacon polo, and that nicely segues into merchandise. So there were 3 items available to purchase as merchandise. Now, it was only pre-orders for this, and you would you could get a t-shirt, you could get a polo, and you could get a sweatshirt or a sweater, hooded sweater, basically. Yeah, not completely sure what it's called. And you bought those for Element Games, and they kept track of the sizes, and then the order was placed. So at some point a few weeks before the actual event, you would close that off, and you wouldn't be able to purchase the merchandise anymore. So I think the prices for the merchandise was fair. It was £12 for the t-shirt, 20 for this I think, and 25 or 30 for the the hoodie. I'm not completely sure, but I found those prices quite fair. But after I received my merchandise, I did notice that the logos printed on them is in like a material that easily washes off. It's easily damaged, so it's not this silk print, if that makes sense. It's called silketrykk in Norwegian, silk print, which is better. It is more expensive, but I find that type of print on it a bit better, because for the t-shirt and the polo, I can already notice it now. I'm sweating on my back, and that's because this is like plastic or something like that, and it is generating quite a lot of heat and sweat. So I would recommend, if my opinion matters to anyone, that you look at some different type of material for the printing of the actual t-shirts. Now the actual material of the clothing is good. I have no problems or issues with that at all. For the t-shirt and the polo, but I would be biased as well, because I need I like the zipper on my hooded sweaters, so I would maybe look at that as well. Maybe in addition since you're only doing pre-orders anyway, it could be better to do that instead, in addition, because I would buy that. I didn't buy the hoodie this time because I don't like having a complete front. Dice were available at the event for one. No, it was. Yeah, I think there was a mistake because I bought them for £1 a piece, but they were available in packs of like 10 or something. That's completely fair, and it does generate more if you sell them in packs. There was a swag bag available. You got a dice bag. Inside was a base from Generation Shift. You had a £5 voucher from Element Games. You had a pin badge. You had a dice, so an Ardacon dice was in there, so you got one for free. And you got a Freddo, along with a lanyard with your nationality, name, city of origin, and Ardacon logo on the back. And the lanyard had Ardacon 2016 on it, and it was 2 different lanyards, one for the visitors and one for the players. So you could collect them all. Ring bearers got both colours of the lanyards. Okay, so going on to registration. Now, registration happened at about 7ish on Friday evening. I arrived at the hotel at about noon, 12:30 noon-ish on Friday. I couldn't get my room early, so I placed my stuff there, and I went to the game store shop, hooked up with the other Norwegians, and then we went back to the hotel for registration at 2. And I waited around in the bar. We had a few drinks with Team Knots, and then I met up with James and started helping him with whatever he needed. So but it took quite a while to get things going, because there was another event at the venue at the same time. So you couldn't go in and make preparations early for that venue at all. They were there until about 5:30, I think. So quite a short setup time. So again, with the bargaining power you have now, you would be needing to have a better deal with the hotel that could set up in better time for the actual event, because things weren't quite as ready as they could have been had one gone that bit earlier on. And I do appreciate the fact that in the contract, I know James told me that they would get 5 o'clock, I think, was the setup time, start of setup time, but it took a while for that to actually go through. Now, for the registration part of this, it didn't happen until 6:45, and that made the line very long indeed. So I would suggest that one had a separate registration. I could basically have a table and register people before entry to the actual venue, because then you could have the queue finish earlier, and then you could just let people in with the lanyards. So that's a suggestion from me there. And I'll just pause now because my throat is going sore from all the talking, so I will get myself a drink. Okay, so I am back. Got myself a drink, so now I'm good for the rest of the video, I think. So we spoke a bit about the registration before I left. Early registration would be key, and that means you could get through the people as fast as possible when the venue actually starts opening. So 150, 170 people would need to register, so that will take a while. So set up a booth early to make that happen more quickly, and people get more time to visit the Forgel stand, Steam Forge stand, stuff like that as well. So we come now to the events. Now we started with Chaos and Arda for the actual opener, and this is something I wouldn't leave out for the entire world. This is the best icebreaker in an SPG community. It is a fully fledged, like, all-out battle between 4 people. It is so much fun, hilarity from start to finish. All players I've spoken to found that very, very nice as well. So you could have that running on the start of the event. Now it was cut down by half an hour because of the registration issues and the issue with the venue. We couldn't get in as soon as we wanted to. So it did put up a bit of a hamper on the rest of the evening, because you were already late and you didn't get to finish your game. So it wasn't the best impression going forward, but people had fun, and that's the most important bit. Now the rest of the evening was used for socializing and a quiz. So the guys from Warhammer, not from Warhammer World, from Forge Old Middle-earth team was hosting an event. So Adam Choke and Jay Clare had a 70 something, or more than that. There was a bunch of questions from the films, the movies, models, rules, poses, and loads of other cool stuff. So they put in a few interesting bits as well. There was a guess that profile, and it was an unreleased profile for the Dol Guldur ring rates. So we had a tough time figuring out which profile that was, because there has been nothing like it before. So so we didn't get a point on that question, obviously, but it was a bunch of oohs and ahs when that was revealed, was that profile. So that was the quiz, and after the quiz there was more socializing, more beers, and people went to bed late. Well, I went to bed late. It was about half two nearly. So bit tired, waking up 5 hours later at 7 in the morning. Now the first thing we did at the Saturday morning was, of course, the Mouth of Sauron challenge. So the venue opened at 9. So Forge Old sold a lot of stuff. Steam Forged had a stand there as well. They sold a lot of stuff, and so did Tom and Damien sold their SPG magazines, and General Shift sold his bases. And there was a lot of commotion, people setting up their armies, stuff like that, people talking, long lost friends meet as well. So it was a good atmosphere. But we started with the Mouth of Sauron challenge with 10 participants. Had a ghost pepper, which is like one of the most hot chili peppers available, and each contestant had a glass of milk in front of them, and the last person to drink of their milk glass won. So at the point where James said, well, take your second ghost pepper, that's when 2 people forfeited, I think. No, Cern was about purple in his face. So it was a fun thing, but if I could make a suggestion, there is not have that at the morning of the tournament, because from my own experience that takes quite a bit out of you, and you wouldn't be able to function as a normal human being after that. So I would maybe switch that one to one of the nights, so you can recuperate during the hours after midnight, to get yourself back in normal form again, so you can actually compete. Because I was going there to compete a bit, and I didn't want to ruin my chances by being in that event. So yeah, but it was great fun watching and seeing the seeing the people struggle with hotness of the peppers. Next thing was a seminar with a team from Forge-Old Middle-earth team. They did questions and answers after their presentation as well, and it was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I loved it from start to finish. I took notes. Meanwhile, I went Facebook Live afterwards, and we told the whole world what a select few people had heard just minutes before. So that was great. Really great seeing where we are going with not only with the Hobbit, but also rules going forwards. So changes to the game, mechanics that aren't going to be changed with the There and Back Again book. That is actually fantastic as well. All right. So next thing was Mouth of Sauron challenge. Now, no, we went through that. Team Championship and Ardacon Champion. So that started at 11? Or was it 12? It started late. And it started with registration for the event. You hand in your arm list. And that's the first thing I'm going to point out, that when you're being told that you are to hand in your Chaos and Art army, your Team Championship army and doubles army list, but you only hand in your your Team Championship army list at the event. That makes the two other lists you've written out to hand in, well, it makes it non-viable for that, as well as you could just hand in your army list at registration. So why not have early registration and hand in your army list while you do it, so people can check it between the breaks. So during the Mouth of Sauron challenge, the ring bearers and James could check the arm lists while you're at it for the first event, and then after that you could check the arm list for the second event, and after that you can check the arm list for the third event. So any problems could be handled earlier than they were. So that's the first thing I'm going to point out. The second thing is that we are going to have 5 matches in a day, which is tough from the get-go. But then we are already late, so that means we are not starting the last game until about 11, and we were supposed to finish at 10:30. So the last game starts half an hour later than the last game should have ended, which makes it quite difficult to concentrate and function as a player as well. So the last 2 games of the event wasn't really that up to the strategy, it was just a stamina challenge. It was just to see how well you can function under pressure over long periods of time. It also makes it difficult for young players to attend. I know some people had to leave for the last game because they weren't staying at the venue at the hotel. So there's quite a bit of synergy there as well with the hotel prices towards the lateness of the last game as well. So players had to leave, and that's a shame, because some of them complained afterwards that they weren't eligible to rank after that. So I haven't seen the final ranking, so I don't know if that's true or not, but it is something I would like to point out. But when the event was going through, it was quite good. But 1.5 hours for one game is on the low end of the scale. I would have a minimum of 1 hour 45 minutes or even 2 hours for that point size, 600 points, because a skirmish army can't skirmish as much as it needs to be functioning, and a big army wouldn't be able to have the time to move properly, use time on that without maybe seemingly waste time. If your opponent looks at your move phase, and you're wasting time, it seems, in his eyes. So it creates a bad atmosphere with a short time limit. Only one of my 6 games finished on time. So that's saying a bit, because even though I played a huge Hobbit army, I was moving as quickly as I could. So yeah, so the final game was at Sunday morning. So my suggestion for the building of the event, I would have a 3-day event, like 3 full days, with Chaos in Arda being the first thing we do as a morning challenge. So start up the venue at 9, have Chaos in Arda until 12, then have a big break for lunch until 1, and then you could start with like three matches on the Friday for at 6 hours plus a half an hour break between the two, and 1 long break as well, so you could have dinner in. So that's 2 hours for breaks. That will finish at 9. And that leaves time to do other stuff in the evening. So then on Saturday you could have 3 more games with a seminar on the morning as well, taking on time, so that will leave you finished at the same time, so you finish at about 9 o'clock in the evening. And then you could have the entire doubles event running for more games, actually, not just the 3 games, but you can have 4 games on the Sunday, or even end early on the Sunday, so you can have a late sleep in, and then you could have longer time for the games as well in the doubles, and you can end early. So my main point of this is longer games basically, and longer breaks in between, and that gives also the sponsors and the venue vendors that are there more time to sell their merchandise. And that gives you also a more bargaining power for the amount of money you can take in from the vendors and the sponsors that are there. So yeah, so the doubles was well run. I think I would like to have 1 more doubles game in, and it wasn't clear how the point system worked, so I was very surprised when I was 2nd place. I won't talk about that now, but it was a surprise to me the way the victory point system worked, with the main event, the team championship singles event being counted on victory loss ratio, and then victory points as a tiebreaker, but the doubles were only victory points. So that gives me a bit of pause that it hasn't been communicated properly. Okay. So that's all the events, and 3 events is a lot on 2.5 days, or not even 2.5 days, 2.25 days. But if you stretch it out a bit, take it 3 full days, that gives you more time to do stuff as well. So I would look at a more different timetable. Okay, so we're nearly done with my rant. So on the sideshows there were SPG Magazine. Tom and Damien had their Dol Guldur set up, sold SPG Magazine. You had Steamforged holding Dark Souls and Guild Ball demos, as well as their card game as well. And they had a sale on, so I know one of my couple of my players bought things. I bought some battle mats, and that were great. Even though it's an SPG tournament, you still have a huge community interest in other games, so having Steamforge there was a huge plus. So that really added to the whole experience as well. And Games Workshop and Forge World were there selling miniatures. They put the book out on the Sunday, so I got to look at the new book on Sunday. They didn't have it out on the Saturday at all, that I know of at least. But they had the new miniatures at sale, and that was immensely cool. For Games Workshop to even participate in community-run events is unheard of. I know they're changing now, these last few months, but up until a few months ago, this wouldn't even be a thing, that Games Workshop shows up at these events and supports it by not only having models for sale and staff at hand to answer questions and a new book to show you. You had a world pre-release on the new miniatures, so the attendees at Ardacon got to buy miniatures that aren't going on sale, well, on pre-order until this Friday, so a week early, and that was hugely popular. I think they sold out, and they must have taken in like £23,000, and that again gives James a bit of bargaining power for the amount of money he can charge Games Workshop to attend the event as well, or the prizes they can sponsor or whatever, and that is hugely successful. So they were fantastic. Nick Baton and Steve, was it? Steve or James? There are so many Steves and James. I one of them, I think. And the fact that they attended the face painting and painted their faces in the icing on thing, that's something we haven't seen from Nick Baton in 10 plus years, I think. Last time we took the Ardacon face paint on was during the War of the Ring days, 2007, yeah, maybe. So that was really cool. Nice people as well, very talkative, very informative. Yeah, it was hugely cool. So next thing is we had Shadow and Flame selling their miniatures, selling Flame's miniatures and showing off Shadow's big Gundabad army display, along with some other stuff as well. So they got their coverage in, and that was fantastic to have that expertise at hand as well. So Flame was there, but Kev Spector couldn't attend, and that's a shame. I would really love to have a chat with him, because I don't think he was at Stockport in April either. Then we had Matthew Davies with Generation Shift available. He sold his bases and had a pre-release on the new 40 and 50mm Forgotten something bases, and everyone got one 25mm for free as well with the grab bag. You had Hardline, I think, was there. Well, they were donating money for Hardline through the sale of raffle tickets. Godolphin Blogs, one of the pillars of the community in England, passed away earlier this year, so they sold. So they had raffle tickets and also costumers and cosplayers at hand. And that's one of the things I want to bring out, that the costumers and cosplayers really made that atmosphere better. Not only did you have a 4-star hotel with a fantastic venue, but you had Lord of the Rings music, Lord of the Rings and Hobbit music playing non-stop throughout the evening and days. But you also had a dwarf running around. You had a Aomer running around, you had a Rohan warrior, you had an orc, you had all these wonderful people putting so much time and effort into their costumes. Such nice people, took pictures, got donations in. The dwarf, what was his name again? He came out with us on the evening after. One of the people James gamed with very early in his SPG career. But those people are so nice and forthcoming, and he photobombed a few of my videos, I think, my journey vlogs, so watch those for that. And it was such a high plus to have that. So you have the face painting going on as well. You can have your face painted with, like, I was thinking about getting the Norwegian flag on one of my cheeks for the team event. And you also had cakes on sale, Lord of the Rings themed cakes. So I think the whole thing came together quite nicely with vendors, and you had side events as well. But with more time between the games and longer games as well, I think that could be utilised a bit better. So I would consider running this event Friday till Sunday, the whole Friday till Sunday. So yeah, people would have to get Friday off, completely off work, but then most people could travel after work on the Thursday, and those who have a long time to travel would need to have at least half the Friday off to be able to attend the early events on the Friday for this event, this year's Ardacon anyway. So I wouldn't really see the difference in that personally, but this is my opinions and only my opinions at all. So all in all, I would end my rant soon. I've been speaking for soon to be an hour, so let's wrap this up. So Ardacon, in my opinion, is the culmination of 2.5 years of work from all the committed SPGs in the world, with James Clark in the forefront, taking on this huge responsibility of running a big event on his own. He had people on hand to help him, but I don't think James realised what a huge responsibility and a huge amount of work this would be. I know many of us watched the live stream he did on Facebook, and yeah, some people thought it was off his rocker during that video. So yeah, now I wish James all the best, and I hope that this event has made him realise that he needs help. So first of all, I would have it be a longer event, 3 days, 3 full days. So that's the first thing. Second thing I would have is I would have more help in the background before the event. So if you need scenery built, you have people helping you build scenery. Have people being responsible for social media. Have people be responsible for merchandising, stuff like that. So you have to give away responsibility to be able to run a big event. So for me, this whole thing went off better than I think a lot of the outspokenly negative people would have it. And I had a wonderful time. To be perfectly honest, I had one of the best times I can remember in this type of environment. But I do think that things can be improved, as always, and that's what I'm giving my opinions based on. So I would have it be a 3 full day event. I would have people given responsibility behind the scenes for the event as well, and I would have full-time referees. So I was a referee at the event, and during my 3 games at top table, I had a hard time answering questions because I made a huge mistake during one of those questions, and that's because I was in my zone during the game, so I couldn't be that invested in helping other people. Now, it may sound selfish coming from me at this point, but I did try to help out as much as I could being a ring bearer, and I think I did quite well in that role. But being a referee, that means you have to have a certain state of mind to be able to not only answer questions but also help out going to the tables and answering questions and seeing the situations at hand first hand as well. So I would have full-time referees during the event and a second TO. So second TO and at least 8 full-time referees, like between 4 and 8. 4 and 8 referees I think would be enough, because you need a person at top table just looking at the game. So yeah. All in all, a fantastic event, wonderful social aspect of the whole community coming together, and it was the culmination of such hard work resurrecting a fairly dead game from the ashes. So this is a time, new golden age for SPG. I think I had a look at the new book, and that's absolutely fantastic. So yeah. So I'll end this here with that. I know a lot of you will not have seen the whole video. For those of you who have, congratulations, or condolences, I guess. This has been me ranting on. I hope for the people in charge of the next year's event, I hope I don't sound too negative. It's constructive criticism only on my part. I wish the event the best in the world, and I want this to continue to succeed and be one of the flagship events in SPG during the year. So if it happens again in 2017, there's already a group up on Facebook for that, I will definitely attend. So yeah. If you have any more questions, please drop it in the comments. I'm sure I've forgotten something. I went through all my bullet points, I think, so that's at least good. Alright, so please drop your questions in the comments below. Thanks for watching the entire video up to this point. Hope you got some painting done while you watched. And as always, please comment, like, share and subscribe, and support your Hobbit hobby.